Thank you so much for joining us here today with Family Network on Disabilities and the Family Star Program. My name is Latasha Bird. I'm the Multicultural Outreach Coordinator for Family Network on Disabilities. And today you're here for one of our workshops, interactive workshops, and for fathers. Let's talk about it. That's what we'll call this series. Let's talk about it. We want to give you a couple of tidbits and things that you might want to consider as a father to a loved one who has a disability. Let's talk about it. We'll have services and resources for fathers highlighted in this series of workshops. We want you to understand that navigating the process doesn't have to be difficult. So with Family Star, which stands for Support, Training, Assistance, and Resources, we are the Family to Family Health Information Center for the state of Florida under the Family Network the Family Network on Disabilities umbrella. And we support families of children and youth who have special healthcare needs and complex medical needs as well, and also professionals and organizations. We help families to be effective partners in their healthcare decisions and the decision-making process at all levels for their loved ones who have disabilities. These webinars are geared towards fathers, and we want you to know that it is okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down if you have to. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to not be okay. And we here at Family Network on Disabilities want you to feel comfortable enough to understand that we are here to help. And should you need resources and support, we are here for you. Today, we'll be talking about collaborative communication. So again, thank you for joining us here. We're glad that you joined us today. We are a nonprofit 501c3 in the state of Florida, serving families of those individuals who have disabilities and also professionals and organizations who serve them as well. We are unique in that the majority of the board of directors, our program staff, the management staff, myself included, we are all caregivers, family members of those who have disabilities, and also folks who have disabilities themselves. So we are family driven and family centered. And this is the way that we can bring the workshops and information that we have to you in such a manner because we have learned and shared experiences. We do understand. So before we get into the webinar, we'd like for you to know that we do not act as attorneys or doctors or even mental health professionals. The information that you receive in this workshop cannot be deemed as legal or medical advice. However, what we do is to provide information and resources and the support that you may need to make informed decisions and best practices decisions for your families. So thank you and welcome. On behalf of all three of our regional PTIs, popping in the Panhandle, PSN in Central Western Florida, Penn and Central Southern Florida, and the Family Star Program, thank you and welcome. Let's talk about communication. Let's begin with understanding what that is. Communication has two parts. You have to have a sender and you have to have a receiver. The sender has a message that he or she wants to transmit, put it out into the world, making use of words, best reflecting what it is that you are trying to convey, those thoughts that you're thinking. But many things can intervene and pretend and exclude what that intended message would look like from actually being received in the way that the sender thought that it should be. So there are different factors that determine how the message is interpreted by the receiver. So new information we learn is compared with the knowledge that things that we already have. So that confirms what we already know, that we will likely receive new types of information, though we pay little attention to it, and it goes against what our previous assumptions may be or interpretation of a certain situation. We may distort the information that we hear, or we may even dismiss it as deceptive or misguided or just simply wrong. If you think of 10%, you see here on the screen, 10% of our communication is only our spoken words. That's 10%. 30% is the tone of the voice that's used. That's all about how you say it. Our tone of voice can be interpreted as different than our intent based on the situation and relationship we have with the listener. So listening and active listening is a crucial step in relationship building and success. It's so important that many top employers provide listening skills training for their employees. It's not surprising. It's not surprising at all, especially when you consider that good listening skills can lead to better communication, better customer satisfaction, greater productivity, fewer mistakes, and increase that sharing of information that can in turn lead to more creative and innovative and productive, lines of work. So successful leaders, successful entrepreneurs, successful caregivers, successful families, they all credit their success to having effective listening skills. That brings us to the last portion, 60%. 60% is your body language. It's still the largest part, whether or not you were listening or conveying a kind or subtle tone of voice. 60% is about body language. So much of what people perceive that you're saying is due to what your body language looks like. I talk with my hands and do a lot of gestures. So it can be seen as, this is my nonverbal types of communication. All of these different types of physical behaviors is within what I'm trying to convey. Talking with my hands, moving my head, and also my body. This includes all those different types of facial expressions that you may have, the posture that you take, your gestures, your eye movements, all of those different ways that we use the spaces that we are in to make our communication known. Communication, that brings us to what it looks like. Sometimes communication can be misinterpreted. If you cross your arms, like you see the gentleman here, that can have an aggressive stance in communication. Every action, even silence, is a form of communication. We talked about a few of these things a little bit earlier slide about body language, facial expressions, your posture. Open and posture, friendly posture can be seen as engaging. And even silence, where you see here, that's a form of communication as well. It can be seen as either denial, frustration, or disagreement, or even disappointment at times. So for effective communication, it's not just about talking, it's about really paying attention to what the other person is saying. That kind of focused attention giving to the conversation is called active listening. Listen twice as much as you talk. So let's talk about a few of those elements of active listening, what they look like. It can be neutral and non-judgmental. Having patience within listening in that conversation. Periods of silence don't have to be filled. You don't have to say something because no one else is saying something. You can also give verbal and nonverbal feedback. Remember your body language, you smile, have eye contact, leaning in, and even mirroring those things, repeating those things that you heard to make sure that you are hearing what the sender is intending for you to hear. And if not, ask questions, reflect back on what it's saying, and ask for that clarification if you don't understand something. Finally, summarize those different things and practice each one of these different elements of active listening. The opposite that we will talk about active listening is passive listening. In passive listening, the listener may appear to be listening to you or hear your words, but they make no effort to even understand what it is that you're saying. So unlike active listening, the passive listener is not really paying attention. So whenever you listen to music while you're doing something else, such as say you're studying or even cleaning up at the house, you're doing passive listening. You may be aware of the music, but your attention is on the task that you have. So in these comics you see right here, there's a different types of passive listening. Look at the comic on the left. You can stop saying and I stopped talking to you an hour ago. Look at the instance on the right. What were you saying? My inner voice drowned you out for a second. So, either in each one of these instances, the person was definitely not really listening. So you see here with collaborative communication, that's the process of communication in which every individual matters and all of their needs matter equally. The main intent and the main idea behind it is that a connection takes place when individuals feel that they are seen, when they are heard, and when they are valued. So fathers, think of the term of collaborative communication as consisting of two main concepts that you see right here, value and respect. You see that there are opinions here, perspectives, and the rights of all parties. With opinions, everyone comes to the table with their lived experiences, with what their knowledge base looks like, what values and thoughts that they have on whatever the topic is you're speaking on. You want to respect those personal thoughts and beliefs, and then bring into different perspectives, multiple perspectives, help in that problem solving and brainstorming option to help find solutions to problems in different situations as they may arise. You want to be flexible. Flexibility is the key to accepting other viewpoints and actually allowing for an open dialogue. That brings us to the rights of our parties, and it goes into respect, general courtesy, not just legal rights or the right to speak without being interrupted, or even the right to disagree and to ask questions. So successful collaboration goes far beyond merely just dividing up tasks and assembling whatever finished product you're trying to convey. It's more about fostering that genuine determination to reach a common objective by sharing those knowledge, sharing your insights, and learning to build as a consensus. It encourages both parties to express honest feelings and promote that mutual respect factor that we spoke of a little earlier, allowing both for discussion and even disagreement, remembering to respect those cultural differences that may bring this collaborative effort to a standstill if you cannot come to a mutual agreement, but also remaining focused on the topic at hand. We want to stay driven to the end, to keep in mind that what your goal is and not waste each other's time, even when it's especially difficult to manage and there are so many people and moving parts that could be available in this collaborative communication. Just want to remember that respect goes both ways. It makes a partnership. This is a relationship between individuals or groups that's characterized by mutual cooperation and responsibility as far as for the achievement of a specific goal. The best outcomes occur when educators, administrators, health professionals, mental health professionals, all of those different types of moving parts within those situations that may arise with our loved ones with disabilities can truly be partners in achieving that goal and putting their own interests aside for the greater goal, and that being the well-being of our loved ones with disabilities. Now, there can be a couple of barriers to communication as well. Let's talk about them. Negative histories. That can include all your own experiences, things that you've been told by people, things that others bring into the discussion, things about your health, and especially if the person is not physically feeling well or has certain chronic conditions or even is emotionally unstable, they'll also have an effect on how their ability to communicate is conveyed. Think about emotional responses. Often it's just they're trying to identify what your loved one needs. There's so much discussion on what your child cannot do or what that loved one cannot do. Hearing all of those negative statements, it can be difficult for the caregiver or that family member when you are in certain social situations or either in those healthcare facilities and offices as well. So think of what the jargon and alphabet soup looks like, especially when you don't understand what those acronyms might mean, or even what some of the those different systems of care and what the providers use. All of the words, they can really be unfamiliar and then pose another barrier to communication. And then there's the fear of intimidation. So it's common for us as parents and caregivers to feel overwhelmed just by the sheer number of professionals sitting at a table with them. And you don't want to seem as though you might not know anything. And so you sit quietly. Remember, being quiet is also a form of communication. There's differences of opinion that they may have, especially when there are several people at the table. We want to use this LOOK strategy. Look, L standing for listening to and restate the other person's opinion. U, using a respectful tone. C, compromise or change your opinion if necessary. And K, know and state the reasons for your opinions. Remember, these are the ways that we're all learning to be active listeners, making sure that your viewpoint is heard, but also taking in mind the account of other people involved. Collaborative communication can be useful when there are different systems. Collaboration in healthcare used to prevent medical errors, improve patient experiences as well, and also to deliver better patient outcomes, and all of those which can reduce healthcare costs. Working with co-workers, accessing personal resources, working with those professionals, providers, securing school services is very, very key, especially fathers, for when you are at the time of IEP or 504 meeting with your family, to understand what those systems are looking like and how to get them put in place. Using collaborative communication can be very useful in this sense as well, especially when working on others to complete a project, such as finding a medical provider, or even finding out how to have those medical services incorporated into an educational plan as well. These are all great ways to be able to work with the team, secure the services that you may need, and help that team function. What makes a team successful, and how do I engage in that team effort? These are all different things that you are able to use those active listening skills to prepare for. So teams you may be working with to facilitate having those services added in that we spoke a little bit before. The school, there's the MET, IEP, the 504 meetings, wraparound meetings as well. This is a term that they would use for a team of individuals who are relevant to all that mental and emotional well-being of a child. And that could be family members, it could be other natural support service providers, agency reps as well. All of these people that collaboratively develop an individualized plan of care, help to implement that care, implement those plans and put them into action and evaluate that success over time. There can also be medical teams you may work with, and also a TIP model. TIP, that acronym stands for Transition to Independence. That process where you involve youth and their families and other informative and key players in that process to prepare them for their movement toward a greater self-sufficiency and greater successful achievements of their goals. And it's related to all their transition domains look like. And even project teams, just an organized group of people who are involved in preparing a shared or individual task. These are all great ways to incorporate the things that you've learned here today and understand how being an active listener and compassionate toward cultural responsibilities and all of our diversities can make you a great part of that team. Coming together is a beginning. Working together is a common goal. That's progress. And good collaborative communication is success. When we put all the moving parts together, it makes a great wheel that can take us from A to B. So we hope that you have learned something today about collaborative success and how you can be a great part of a team, especially working toward the common goal of self-sufficiency, self-advocacy, determination, and independence for our loved ones with disabilities. Please help us to help you. Tell us how we're doing. If there are other things that you'd like to see in these videos and workshops, please let us know. Reach out to us with an evaluation and help us to help you facilitate the resources and support that you may need. So on behalf of Family Network on Disabilities, all three of our regional PTIs, our Family Star program for families who care for loved ones with complex medical needs and other, excuse me, complex medical needs and all of those other health information systems that you may need, we invite you to take a look at our website, www.fndusa.org, and across all of our regional social media channels as well, with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We want to say thank you. Should you need more information and contacting us at the Family Network on Disabilities or to facilitate a live workshop for your organization, please use this number. It's 1-800-825-5736. Again, that number is 1-800-825-5736. We hope that you learned a little bit about collaborative communication today. And should you need any further information, please reach out to us, contact us at the Family Network on Disabilities and the Family Star program for families who care for loved ones with complex medical needs. My name is Latasha Bird. It has been a pleasure to facilitate for you today. And should you need us for anything, FND is here to help. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.